Namaste. हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया. I am Dr. Lily Trivedi, and today I am going to give a lecture on evolution. Now, what is evolution? It, Now, we can say evolution is a process that results in heritable changes in population spread over many generations, leading to a diversity of organisms on Earth. It is a very slow process, and there are many generations in which we can, when we come to know that yes, there is a change, and this is the reason that why we find so much diversity of organisms on the earth. Now, what are the theories of evolution? Now, we have many theories in regard to evolution, but they all come from the evidences which we have found. Now, how we have found the evidences? They have come from paleontology, that is study of fossils. Then we have comparative anatomy and morphology. That means we compare both the anatomy features and the external morphological features between different organisms. Then biochemical or physiological evidences, biogeographic evidences, and embryological evidence. Now let's study the first, that is paleontology. Now it is the study of fossils. Now fossils are the remains of past organisms which are preserved in the sedimentary rocks. Now rocks are formed from sediments, and a cross section of the earth crust indicates the arrangement of sediments over a long history of the time. The different age rock sediments contain fossils, and they are of different life forms who died and were preserved in that particular sediment. Now, some of the organisms appear similar to modern organisms, and they are extinct organisms. So they are like we have the dinosaurs. Now, fossils of different in the present in the different sedimentary layers are according to the geological period in which they existed. Now, when we study these fossils over different time periods and different life forms according to geological time scale, we find that these forms have evolved at different times in the history of the earth. The second evidence which we have got is from the comparative anatomy and morphological evidences. They can be similarities also and differences also as compared to today. Now, let's take an example of external and the organ with same structure and design but different in function. They are called homologous organs. For example, the four limbs of some whales, some animals like whales, bats, and cheetahs. Their anatomical structure is similar to the humerus radius ulna up to the arm of a human being. So, homology in an organ indicates common ancestry. That means the forelimb of the whale, bat, and cheetah is equivalent to the human arm in homology. That is in same structure and design, but the function is different. Then we also have other examples of homology, like we have the thorns and tendrils of bougainvillea and cucurbits. They are homology. The tendrils of cucurbit, they are performing a different function, and the thorns present in bougainvillea, they are performing different function, but their origin is same, that is they are coming from the same part. Now homology is based on divergent evolution. That means according to the adaptation to the different needs, the structure has changed its function. So the condition is called divergent evolution. Then there is another word, that is analog. What are analogous organs? Which are anatomically different but perform the same function. For example, the wings of butterfly and birds. So analogy is exactly opposite to homology. So what kind of evolution it will be? Convergent. That means the structures are different, but the function is same. Other examples we can find is the root modification of sweet potato and stem modification of potato. So both are underground and they both perform the function of storage. But sweet potato is a root modification and the potato is stem modification. Then we also have evidence from the vestigial organs. That means they are degenerated, non-functional and rudimentary. That means they are present in very small, whereas they are fully developed and functional in the related organism. So if you come to the human body, which is the most advanced in evolution, there are 90 vestigial organs. Some of them are the tailbone, the wisdom tooth, the vermiform appendix. All these do not have any use in the present status of the human being. But before evolution, they were present and were of use. We also have other uh, like the snakes, the hind limbs in snakes and the wings of flightless birds. Now, if the bird is not flying, the wings which are present is useless. If the snakes are not moving forward, they are crawling, then the hind limbs are useless. So these are called as vestigial organs. We also have the biochemical evidence. Now, molecular homology is same among animals at the same molecular level. For example, the human DNA differs only 1.8% in base pairs from the chimpanzee DNA. So then we also have another is biogeographical evidence. Now, what is biogeographical evidence? That is, certain species restrict to a region and they develop unique features. But species from a separated region also show similar ancestry. For example, let's take the adaptive radiation is a process which gives a evolutionary process. So what happened? Darwin finches, that is a small black bird, which Darwin observed in Galapagos Islands. What he observed that there were many varieties of these birds on the same island. Now all the varieties had evolved from the seed-eating original birds. But there was alternation in the beaks. Why? Because some became insectivorous and some remained vegetarian. So according to their diet, they developed their beaks. So these are, then there is also parallel evolution. That means independent development of similar characters in two groups of animals which are having common ancestors, but they are living in different habitats in different continents. So parallel means, that means, for example, we have Australia in which marsupials are there and they look similar in all the countries in which they are present. So an elephant in Africa and an elephant in India, so they are almost same. So we also have some embryonic evidences. So what are the embryonic evidences? They show comparative common patterns of development. Now this was studied by Von Geer and the theory of biogenetic law was given by this. For example, the frog tadpole larva resembles the fish. and the ancestor of amphibia. The presence of gill clefts in vertebrate embryos, including humans, provide strong evidence of organic evolution. Then we also have some anthropogenic evidence. Now, what is anthropogenic evidence? That is, now resistance which we get. Anthropogenic is due to the activities of humans. So, when we use excessive herbicide, pesticide, we develop resistant varieties. So they are, for example, in microbes, in bacteria, they develop resistance against drugs or antibiotics. All these are due to the chance, due to the nature, mutation in the nature. So whenever the mutation takes place, a new variety will develop which is resistant to certain chemicals. So students, I hope you have found my lecture on the evolution theory simple and concise and interesting. If you have any doubt or query, please leave in the comment section. I will resolve it soon. This session was powered by digital version 2.0 of Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I thank you and namaste.